Back researchers. Today's lesson is going to be all about cross-text synthesis, which you remember we've already done earlier in the year with our previous nonfiction unit. Now, the other day, I was taking an online yoga class, and the instructor was teaching us different ways to stretch out our necks. And one of the stretches involved clasping your hands and interlacing and intertwining your fingers. When I was doing this stretch, I wasn't thinking about stretching. I was actually thinking about how this relates to our research. I was picturing that one hand was one nonfiction text on a topic, and the other hand was another nonfiction text on a topic. And I was picturing how, when my hands come together like this, it represents one topic organized and categorized by different subtopics of information. You guys have been reading one book after another, thinking about these books as separate from one another. But what makes a group of books about a topic so special is that the information from one book gets interlaced with the information from another book. This leads me to today's teaching point. Today I want to teach you that when researchers dig into a topic, they often identify subtopics within that topic. Then they read about the same subtopic in a couple of different texts and synthesize or put together the information so that the related bits go side by side. Now, the more researchers combine information, the more they become experts on a topic. Now, in today's lesson, I'm going to model how I would synthesize or combine information about the subtopic of growing up. I have a couple of books here with me that are not on EPIC, and I was looking through this one called Penguins by Bobby Kallman, and I've been using this one as my easy overview book. And this book, Penguins, has a section called Growing Up, which is all about baby penguins growing up. But this book only had a little bit of information, a small section of information on that subtopic, and I wanted to learn more. So I decided to read similar sections or smaller sections of other books, and the first thing I needed to do was to find those subsections, because I didn't want to go through and read a whole book, but I could skim the table of contents to find just one section that was important to what I wanted to find out. So we're going to look at one of my harder books that I have here with me. And this book talks about how baby penguins grow up. And if I look through the table of contents and the sections in the book, there's a chapter on giant chicks. And then the next chapter is called In the Brood. And a brood is like a group of penguins. So I'm thinking I'm going to go to this chapter In the Brood to see if it can give me some more information that I can add to my information from my easy overview book. Now, we are going to read this section of In the Brood, but before I read this section of In the Brood, it's going to be important that I go back and reread my easy overview book on the topic of growing up. Now, I always go back to reread this so that I have a good base of information to elaborate or say more on the topic. So I don't want to go to any other books until I go back and reread that one section in my easy overview book. So let's take a look at what my easy overview book has to say about growing up. A penguin chick grows quickly. Soon, both of its parents have to hunt in order to feed it. While its parents are away, the chick huddles with other chicks for warmth and protection. A group of chicks is called a creche. Creches are guarded by adults that do not have chicks of their own. These guardians are called aunties. Several weeks after it's born, the chick loses its baby down, and its adult feathers start to show. Losing down is called fledging. Some scientists think fledging makes chicks grumpy. Now, I want you to listen as I read the subsection in The Brood from The Penguin, which is one of my harder books. Now, as soon as you hear some information that elaborates or says more about something that I just read to you in my first easy overview book, just give a thumbs up as you listen from home. In the brood. By May, chicks that are well nourished by their parents weigh about 26 pounds. But by December, those chicks that have survived weigh only about 13 pounds. What happened? All during the winter, young penguins stay in their colony or they gather in groups called creches. The adults leave to hunt and will not be back for 5 or 6 weeks. Now, if I were modeling how to do this synthesis work in class, I would actually have you cut out sections of these books and put them together to see how you can add information from one text to another. But take a look at how I might put this information together if I was having you kind of cut these sections apart and put them together. You can see here that here's the information from my first book, A Penguin Chick Grows Quickly. Now, I've actually sandwiched in this information from the penguin. By May, chicks that are well nourished by their parents weigh about 26 pounds. But by September, those chicks that have survived weigh only about 13 pounds. And the adults leave to hunt and will not be back for 5 to 6 weeks. So I was able to synthesize or kind of like squish in the information from this harder book and combine it or synthesize it with the section in the easier book. Now it's going to be your turn to try this work. We're going to look again at a text called our original Growing Up text. And now we're going to look at another book and the section of that book, The Life Cycle of Emperor Penguins. Now you're going to listen to this third book and see if it has even more information that we can synthesize and add into a combined understanding of the text. So again, here is our easy overview book that we just read about growing up. Growing up, a penguin chick grows quickly. Soon both of its parents have to hunt in order to feed. While its parents are away, the chick huddles with other chicks for warmth and protection. A group of chicks is called a creche. Creches are guarded by adults that do not have chicks of their own. These guardians are called aunties. Several weeks after it's born, the chick loses its baby down, and its adult feathers start to show. Losing down is called fledging. Some scientists think fledging makes chicks grumpy. Now, here's the section that we're adding in from the other book, New Feathers. The chick travels with other chicks to the ocean to begin searching for food. The young chick must molt before it can swim in the icy waters, however. As the chick walks towards the ocean, it begins to lose its fluffy down. It grows the oily, waterproof feathers it needs to survive in water. By the time the chick reaches the ocean, it has grown its waterproof feathers. It is now a fledgling. So pause and think. What could you add and where could you add it if you were putting these two parts together? Now, if we were smashing these two sections together, you can see where I would add that information together. Several weeks after it is born, the young chick must molt before it can swim to the icy waters. The chick loses its baby down. As the chick walks towards the ocean and its adult feathers start to show, losing down is called fledging. By the time the chick reaches the ocean, it has grown its waterproof feathers. Some scientists think fledging makes chicks grumpy. Now, let's quickly review the steps that we took to do this synthesis work. Now, the first thing that we did in this type of work is we read our overview to get a basic understanding of the topic that we were researching, in this case, growing up. You find the related subsections from another book, and then you pause when the information elaborates or says more about what you've already learned, and you put that new information together with the original text. That is synthesis. Now, the thing is, you can't cut and paste your electronic EPIK books. So you have to find other ways to do this information. If you jot down notes, you can just add to them when you find more. And that's exactly what you're going to be doing in today's work. You are going to be going back to the topic that you researched yesterday. Yesterday, you read an easy overview book all about diet. And then you today are going to tackle harder books and synthesize the information that you learn about diet to combine it with the information that you learned yesterday. So if you put notes into Padlet, you're actually going to go back to those Padlet notes and add on to them. You can do this by going back into the box where you wrote your notes on Padlet yesterday and adding in some notes by typing them in, or you can take a new picture of the notes if you've done that synthesis work in your notebook. You're going to need to read for about 30 minutes to collect more information on diet. And you're going to start by rereading the section in your overview book on diet to remind yourself what it said. Then you're going to grab a few other books, read the subsections in those books about diet only, and take notes about what you read to add to your previous notes on diet from yesterday. That's it for today. Good luck.